First time in your life.
First time in my life. I've got big hands. You know what they say, little hands, little pee-pee. AEW! We're good. We're doing it live. AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash just ended half an hour ago. I've been setting up and doing all kinds of bullshit. They opened the show in one of the ways I don't like, but I understand why they do it a lot through all the wrestling companies. We had a 3-minute rewind on At World's End to see how MJF won the title, and then immediately smash cut to MJF climbing out of a vehicle, getting the biggest fur coat I've seen in a while ripped off his body by some lady, and then she opened a fucking door, and then boom, into the arena he goes. He tossed the old title out of the ring after a little bit of chit-chat and unveiled the new Triple B, which I'm for. I love it. I love the goofy bullshit shtick that he's got. I wish I had the kind of fuck you money he does to have such like custom tailored, custom designed suits, because it's just his initials in pinstripe form, which is awesome. I'm poor. So, moving on, he said, fuck Adam Page, fuck Joe, fuck Swerve, just fuck them. Fuck the big three. Not a fan. And yes, I'm standing, eat a dick, Pepe. So, he rambled on for a few minutes, and then a Kenny Omega video package popped on, and, you know, I watched live, but obviously that wasn't live. He was in his kitchen or dining area or something in his house, which fine, like, make a video package, make sure that it's correct, do all the editing, throw it into the thing. There was no back and forth. It was, here's the video package. I'm coming after your title, I think, because I'm done collecting titles. I want to collect one title, and that title is the title that I'm coming to collect. So get ready, buckaroo. After that, Hangman and Swerve showed up. They came in through the audience wearing their chains. MJF scampered away with the new Triple B, and then they just ruined the ring. They took the podium. Swerve used the podium as a battering ram to get rid of some security. Then the both of them just continued to kick security in the face, full on, like it was going out of style. And I don't think they're going to get fined because it's just security, and by security I mean like low-level people, low-level dark match wrestlers in the company. We all know how that works. So that was fun, I guess. And then Joe came on the screen and was like, you guys can't ask for fucking title shots because I get the title shot because I just lost the title and I was screwed. So screw you, I'm going after the thing. He came on and he said, screw you guys, I'm getting the title shot. You guys next week can fight Hobbs and Hook. And Hook was standing there in a big dumb poofy jacket. I'm going to put a picture right there somewhere. He looks like he's trying to be Hobbs. Which is very funny because he's a tiny little white boy, and Hobbs is big black man, and then tiny little white boy, and it's so funny to me. I don't know why I got such a kick out of that, but we're moving on. So after that, Renee came on with the conglomeration, and this week's word of the week was asphyxiation, and because they're going to choke the life out of their opponents next week during a match, or tonight during a match. It was kind of... Mark Briscoe's always all over the place, and I never know where he's going with stuff, but it's fine. It's fine. No problem. So, asphyxiation. Toni Storm came in because she was part of a intergender tag team match with Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong, and Mina Shirakawa was there, and she was like, Tony, don't be all weird with him. He's a boy. You love me. And then Tony was like, don't worry about it, watch. And she took an orange, and she bit into the orange, and it still had its skin on it. And gross. Gross. That's all. So then, Cassidy, Strong, and Tony all went out. Claudio Garcia and Shafir came out a couple seconds later, and they had their big match. Cassidy did a surprise roll-up on Shafir to try and get the win, and of course it didn't work. Because why would it? That's not how these intergender matches go. So that got broken up. And then my favorite part of this whole like crazy back and forth is that Roderick Strong and Shafir continue to get into these little like mini battles, which is so funny because they're a married couple. Spoiler, I don't know. And so Shafir was like chest slapping Strong while Claudio held him, and then Strong did some stuff, and there was a big kerfuffle in the middle of the ring, which then ended up with Shafir hip tossing Strong, which was wild to watch because she's like 8 inches shorter than him, but she is a black belt in some martial art. I'm not sure which one. I don't pay that close of attention to their personal lives. I just kind of get this information handed to me, and then I know what's going on. There was another tango. So I don't know how long they're gonna ride this funny like thing between Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy, where they like dance and then they like shuck each other and they like punch people and dips and kicks and all that. It was very interesting. It's always very interesting, but you can only do it so many more times before it gets super old. So hopefully we don't get too many more of those. Thank you very much. Garcia kicked Toni Storm right in the face while she was trying to set Claudio up for the big swing, which I would have loved to see if Toni could have actually pulled off swinging Claudio. That would have been super interesting. But the fact that it didn't happen makes a lot of sense because Toni Storm is a mildly short woman and Claudio Castagnoli is 8 feet tall. So it would have been fun to watch, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Garcia kicked her in the face, and that got some mixed reactions from the crowd. I think that as long as they're up for it, go wild. Like, do your thing. It's totally fine. A couple seconds later, after another, like, this guy comes in and punches him, and this guy comes in and punches him, and this guy comes in and punches him, Toni Storm hit Claudio Castagnoli with a hip attack, which she couldn't do the swing, so she got the hip attack in. Fine. No problem. Good with that. Frickin' Wheeler Yuta came out and interfered for a second, and that was a big issue, and then Claudio did the super duper throwy up in the air European uppercut to Orange Cassidy, and they ended up getting the win, which I don't understand why that is Orange Cassidy's kryptonite, but it is. So he lost from that again, which, okay, fine. It works, I guess. Right after that, Mercedes Moné came on, did a promo package where she talks about, I'm still 10 belts Moné, I'm still Ultimo Moné, I still hold the record for most titles held in a single blah, blah, blah. Like, fine. Shut up. We get it. You've got a lot of belts, and we'll come back to that later. Main event was Moné versus Willow Nightingale for the TBS title. We'll come back to that because I have notes. Bandito and Beast Mortos came out next, and they had a 2 big men slapping big man meat match and lots of high flying. I don't understand how Mortos can fly through the air like a cruiserweight when the man is 300 plus pounds, but he does it, and he does it well, and it's some of the most insane stuff that you'll see. Just watch compilations of him like flying over the top rope or going through the middle rope and doing a full tornado and then landing on it. Like, he's got it down, and it's amazing and scary at the same time. I'll never not think that. There was a fun part in that match, though, where Bandito grabbed his cape and they started doing a bullfighting thing where he's like, oh, lay, and Mortos is like running and acting like the bull, and it was a whole thing for like 37 seconds. So, and then he put the cape on and he got on the top rope and Mortos was on the outside and he did like a Superman crossbody kind of thing, and the cape came off somehow while he was in midair. Like, he put it on, he got on the ropes, he jumped, and as he was falling, the cape just went and it disappeared, which was funny. It's goofy wrestling. Who doesn't love goofy wrestling? Goofy wrestling for life. Thank you very much. Right after that match, there was a commercial break, and then we came back with Brodito doing a promo about how Bandito is going on to face MJF in a couple of weeks here in Phoenix, and I'm really hoping that a friend of mine can give me some tickets, because that would be fun, and I can watch that, and we can do it live, and it would be fantastic. Yeah, okay. So they At one point, I don't speak a lot of Spanish, but I did catch a whole thing that Bandito said, like, I'm going to steal MJF's milk money, like, for the family. And I was just like, no one's talked about stealing anybody's milk money since, I don't know, 1986. So that was interesting. And then Brody King came out to the ring, and he had a match with Lee Johnson. It was a very quick match. It was like borderline squash match. Lee did get some decent shots in, but I mean it's Lee Johnson versus Brody King. Like, Brody King is twice his size. It was over in, like, I don't even think they made a full 5 minutes. I didn't time it, but it felt very, very fast. So we'll leave that, and Brody can have his win. There was a Darby Allin video package about how, like, I started off the year at the top of the mountain, and now I'm here, and the only person in the Death Riders that I haven't defeated is Pac. So Pac, I want to fight you again because I need that win so that I can have closure and move on. And it was heartfelt, and it's Darby, and he always wears his heart on his sleeve. So everything that he said was pretty spot on. He has beaten everybody else in the Death Riders except for Pac in one-on-one competition. So hopefully we get Darby versus Pac 2, and we can see what happens. I don't know. Right after that, it was Josh Alexander versus Mox for a Continental Championship Eliminator match, which these matches don't make sense to me. Like, if somebody's good enough to be put into a match, an Eliminator match, in order to prove that they deserve a shot at the title, shouldn't they already have a shot at a title? Why an Eliminator match? Just put them in the match. Just have the match. Stop at these Eliminators. There's too much. It's just too much. On his entrance, because Mox and the Death Riders always come through the audience, Mox went to go hop over the guardrail, and he got his foot stuck, I think, and he tripped over the top of the guardrail and almost ate it on the floor, but he caught himself, but his one foot landed on the little chair that's always there in the corner for the security guy. And it was just a very strange moment, but, like, he picked himself up and he continued on without any other stumbles there. But then, and here's photo number 2 of the night. Josh Alexander had a wet butt. I don't understand what was going on with his singlet, but it looked like he had a wet butt when the match began. And then as the match went on, I kept, like, paying attention. Yeah, I was staring at his butt. Deal with it. It looked like it was drying little by little as the match went on. And it was like a 15-minute long match. So, like, when it started, one of his butt cheeks had a stain that went, like, up to his kidney. And then by the end of the match, and I couldn't get a photo of it near the end, but, like, that all the spot near his kidney that looked wet just came down to, like, right around his butt cheek. And it was so distracting because I'm a psycho. So he just had wet butt for some reason during this match, like nothing else. He didn't have, like, wet head, wet face. Like, there was no, like, water marks on the chest of his singlet. It was just right there on his butt. I don't know, man. It was very strange. So after Mox took the win, which, yeah, I mean, he just got that title. They're not gonna take it away from him less than a week after the pay-per-view. That's just not gonna happen. MVP and Shelton Benjamin came out, and they were just like, "We see you. We see you. Shelton wants a shot at that title. Give us a shot at the title." And Moxley just kind of fucked off through the audience again. And we'll come back to that later. Then there was a kind of weird promo from the Triangle of Madness. And they, like, kind of called out Chris Statlander because she's the women's champion right now. But they were just like, you live on a planet all your own. Like, it's got to be lonely at the top. Let us take your place. And it's just like, Okay, so one of them, I'm assuming Tekla wants to go after Chris Statlander for the title, but then like because they're a trios group, if one of them wins the title, is there a thing where they can like kind of pass it back and forth? Like I don't like because if a trio wins the tag team titles, then if one person gets injured, they can still throw the other person in, and it's still technically a tag team because they're all. I don't know. They want to go after Statlander, so that's what they're doing. They're putting it out there to go after Statlander, and they're gonna try their very best. Who knows if it's gonna work? Let's find out later as we move on. After that was Ricochet versus Jack Perry for the national title, which AEW. Why do you have 37 different titles in the company? Like, stop it. Stop it. Just a little. Just stop. There's too many. And we don't have enough TV time to go through all of them. And as far as I know, we haven't seen anything with the national championship for like over a month, which means unless they're doing stuff on ROH and I'm not able to like pay attention to that, why do we have so many titles? You're just watering down the title like contendership. It's there's too much. Stop. Get rid of like 5 titles. That's it. Keep the men and women's championship, the men and women's tag. Keep the trios titles, that's fine. I don't mind those. The Continental, now we've got the Continental, we've got the International, we've got the National. Like, why can't those all just be, like, formed into the same thing? Put 3 belts into 1 belt. That will take care of so much, like, backstage issue or, like, fan issue, probably. But, so they Ricochet versus Jack Perry for the national title. Ricochet won after some shenanigans from, the rest of the Demand, and they ended up taking Luchasaurus to the back, and then Jack Perry got interrupted on something he was going to do. Ricochet came out with the spirit gun, ended up winning the match, so he kept his title. No surprise. Big fan of Ricochet, by the way. Like, no shade his direction. I really enjoy the stuff that he's been doing. I'm cool with the Demand. Like, all of it's great. But the title still seems a little unnecessary. But, I mean, I'm glad he's got something. Like, he does, you know, it's not just gold scissors anymore. Now it's gold scissors and a gold belt with red leather. Red leather, yellow leather. So after the distraction... Oh, there was one moment where Jack Perry knocked over Ricochet, and Ricochet did a kip-up. And as soon as he did a kip-up, Jack Perry reached to, like, do a hair pull to yank him down to the ground, and he just slid his hand right off the top of Ricochet's head, because Ricochet's bald, and then he just stood there in the middle of the ring, like, staring at his hand for, like, a minute, and then finally they, like, looked at each other again, and then they went back to it. At the very end, so Ricochet kept his title. Luchasaurus was brought back out by one of the members of the Demand. I'm still learning their names. It's a lot. It's a lot for a tag team that doesn't show up a whole lot and does stuff, so getting their names... I'm trash with names in real life, so this is not happening at the moment. But he carried him back out, he threw him at the top of the entrance ramp, and then he went over and he got just like a spare piece of guardrail and picked it up and slammed it down on Luchasaurus, and then they brought a chair over, and they were just like hitting the guardrail with the chair with Luchasaurus's arm underneath it, because Luchasaurus is all messed up in the arm area and the shoulder at the moment, so they were just like wailing on his arm. It's fine. I mean, it sets up matches for down the road. I don't know how or if they're going to play off whatever this injury is. I don't know if he's actually injured. I don't think he is, because he probably wouldn't be ringside and like actively participating in Jack Perry's matches or whatever. But so that is going to be something to watch as far as the Demand versus Jurassic Express. We'll just have to see. I don't know. The Death Riders had a promo right after that. Moxley threw shade at the Hurt Syndicate and said, "Hey, I'm not a hard guy to find. You want a shot at the title? Come talk to me. Like, we'll figure it out. You're, businessman. Let's do this." And then Wheeler Yuta, the little shit, decided, "Hey, I'm going to get all up in some dumb business too. Hey, Darby Allin, if you want a shot at Pac, you have to come at me, and you have to defeat me first to get to Pac." So now I feel like they're just going to set up this whole thing where Darby's got to run through everybody in the Death Riders again to get to Pac, but they'll probably leave Moxley out of it just because it's Moxley. and he's, you know, the Continental Champion right now. So if we have to have Darby run through 3-4 of the guys in Death Riders just to get, which that's how many there are if you don't count Moxley, just to get back to Pac, like, fine, I guess. I mean, it'll be entertaining at the very least because it's Darby and he throws his body around worse than I ever chucked my backpack around in high school. So, you know, we can see what happens there. Then MJF was backstage with Renee, and she was like, oh, you got the belt back, but now you've got, like, Joe and Swerve and Hangman and Kenny Omega coming after you because you have the title, so there's a big target on your back. Like, what are you going to do? And he started to say something about, like, oh, I'm not scared. Like, whatever. I'm going to make this second reign 3-4 times as long as the first reign. I'm going to make it look like it was short and sweet. Ha, 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 ha. And then Brodito showed back up, and Brody was like, the only guy you got to worry about is Bandito because he won the ring in the Casino Gauntlet, and so now he's got that. So, see you in 2 weeks, motherfucker. Like, you know, it'll be Bandito's big belt or beautiful belt or something along those lines. So he used the Triple B moniker for Bandito, which was good. I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. And then when it did come, I laughed out loud just for a moment. And she thought I was crazy. But it's fine. So that was a thing. And then right at the end of it, Max was just like, you know, I've got 6 of those rings, right? Okay, eat it. And then he, like, took off. Then we got to the main event of the night. I am so tired of Monet coming out and having a banquet table full of belts, or like all of them hanging from the ring ropes, or in today's case, 5 dudes shirtless standing at the top of the entry ramp holding the belt. They were literally holding the belts straight out, like elbows locked straight out in front of them, and she walked right past them for like big photo op moment or whatever. One of the guys looked like he was about to pass out. He was shaking so hard, holding 2 belts straight out in front of him for 37 seconds. And I know that as soon as the camera like panned away from him and they were all ushered into the back, he probably went full dead arm for, I don't know, the entirety of the rest of the show. Like, that dude was like, just, he couldn't do it. And it was very funny to me. And then the match got started. There was a bit near, I would say 3/4 of the way through. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of punching, a lot of like throwing people in and out of the ring. You know, it was Monet and Willow. Like, that's kind of how they just had their full back and forth, because this isn't the first time that they've ever met in a ring. And so they kind of know each other and how to reverse all the stuff. And then Willow tried to, like, suplex Monet on the announce table, and then Monet reversed it and powerbombed Willow instead. And the table didn't break, so that was a very stiff bump. And then they both, like, rolled off the table right after that. Beat the 10 count at 9 back into the ring. And had another, like, 6, 7, 8 minutes of just back and forth ridiculousness. The two of them, like, one's got the upper hand, and then the other's got the upper hand, and then there's a surprise roll-up, and then there's a reversal surprise roll-up, and then there's a third surprise roll-up. And eventually, Willow finally gets, like, her Dr. Bomb, I think is what they're calling it, which I thought that was a Britt Baker thing, but I also don't think that that's a Britt Baker thing, which, by the way, shout out to Britt Baker, sorry, you're still on the IR. And Willow won. So we're starting 2026 strong with Monet having 1 less belt. So now I believe she's 9-belt Monet, which, good. And I have no words to describe the strange, like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like a play on a baseball uniform that Monet was wearing. But it's very odd. And it's very furry, and it makes me feel weird. But she lost, so I'm happy about that. I'm not even like a huge fan of Willow's. I am just that big of not a fan of Monet's. So, cool. Somebody took another belt off her. I'm totally cool with that. I don't like. We'll start 2026 there, and we'll see where it goes. At the end of it, the Harley Cameron, Jet Speed, Orange Cassidy all came out, and they're like, "Yeah, like you did it, yeah," and new. And then like the confetti cannons went off, and everybody was like, "Woo!" And then Chris Statlander came out, looking straight up like somebody's babushka. She just had like kind of a fluffy coat, and then like a shawl just wrapped all different ways around her head, and she was just kind of like, and then they hugged, and there was a whole thing, and that's how everything ended. So the December 31st 2025 last episode of AEW for the year ends with a bang. Willow gets a second title, so now she's tag team and TBS, which cool, no problem there. Monet loses a belt, awesome, thank you so much. And everything else just kind of stayed the same. So we'll see what happens. I still think that the Death Riders are going to turn on Moxley pretty soon. I think Saturday or Sunday morning or whatever, when the last episode went up, I was saying like give it 90 days because now he's got a title. So they're like, well, we've got gold in the team now, blah blah blah. I still think that they're going to get tired of him, and they're going to kick him to the curb, and they're going to go off their own way and like not have a leader, even though I'm sure like Claudio will probably step into like the leadership role. Garcia is still losing just as hard as he has been, except I mean the team won this week, so maybe it's been 1-1 and I just haven't been keeping as close of a tally as I have been the last like 2 months or so, but we'll see where everything goes. Hopefully, like I said, I'll be at the show here on January 14th when they're in Phoenix, and yeah, so all in all, great end of the year. I'm really looking forward to what they do in 2026. I don't remember what the next pay-per-view is. I'll talk about it on the next episode or whatever. At least give out like dates and all that kind of thing. I know Double or Nothing is a couple months away. I'm pretty sure it's a couple months away. It's more of like right at the end of Q1 for the year. But until then, until next time, I'm going to take my notes and I'm going to go to bed. So have a great night. We'll see you next episode. Saturday night, late Saturday night. If you wake up Sunday and you listen to it, that also works. So have a great night. Happy New Year. I'm going to go continue to listen to my neighbors pop off shitty little fireworks, and my dog is just going to keep pissing all over the place. So, bye!